Cape Town-based writer Kim Stevens has taken her viral social media post a step further and put together a book. In this book, Kim uses humor to delve deeper into some of her funny and raw social media posts that made her go viral. The book also touches on serious issues, including her teenage pregnancy, growing up in a white middle-class South African home, her stance on the current government, and how she experienced the nationwide lockdown since April 2020, to mention just a few. Kim Stevens is on Zoom with us this morning to shed more light on this offering that she titled Hold the Line. A very good morning to you, Kim. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to Morning Live.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
Good to have you this morning, Kim. Tell us more about the book and why you decided to share your personal story in such a way.
I think some of the parts of the book were written up to 6 years ago, and then the kind of blessing in lockdown was a whole lot of ramblings that I put together that were well received and went slightly viral. And then I had this bulk that I could then use to put the book together.
Yeah.
Most of it very humorous, some sort of less humorous moments. But on the whole, I hope the book causes a laugh, particularly because I poked fun at everybody, including myself.
And the background of your story begins in Cape Town, where you say your first memories begin. Tell us more about this so that, we can get to know the viral posts.
So yeah, I grew up in sort of middle-class suburban Cape Town, Rondebosch, in a very average, my sister and I and our fantastic parents, and in a cottage in Rondebosch, just before South Africa opened up and schools became multiracial. And it's been really fascinating now having children in the same schools to see what has and hasn't progressed in terms of an open and free and fair South Africa. So I look at situational blindness in typical white South African homes and where we have and haven't progressed, and I touch on that throughout the book. I think that was amplified in lockdown where, one person's outcry around rotisserie chicken being banned was slightly more amplified than the fact that there were people in chats trying to manage lockdown. So I think South Africa is so diverse and so unequal in so many ways that it was really interesting to take lockdown as a bit of a microscope to delve deeper into where those chasms lay.
Kim, I've attended so many comedy shows, I've interviewed so many comedians, and none of them would poke fun at themselves. It really does take guts to poke fun at your own self. I must give it to you. And you share some of your most interesting posts that went viral on Facebook. Why do you think so many people resonated with the articles you shared?
I had an English teacher in high school who always said, write for the audience that you know. So my post definitely resonated for the most part with the kind of community around me, which is very much sort of middle-class, suburban. And, we were doing crazy things in lockdown, from making pineapple beer to selling illegal wine out of garages. Your kind of Rondebosch housewife suddenly became a bootlegger, and it was wild. It was a wild time. So it was almost too easy to be comedic around what we were experiencing and what the sort of strange behavior that we all embraced all of a sudden. The world was a bit crazy for a while.
Right. And how did you decide on which pieces to include in the book and which ones to leave out?
So I included most of them. I think those that were best received were I categorized middle-class South Africa during lockdown and gave the difference from the conspiracy theorists to we all had like a definition. I had no time for the conspiracy theorists doing flick-flacks in their tinfoil hats. That was my worst part of lockdown. But those that suddenly became experts on viruses, and we were all quite crazy. Suddenly had degrees in medicine, and we'd been making tie-dye T-shirts prior. So it was fun.
Yeah, and you also give your take on the lockdown due to the coronavirus pandemic, yeah? Do share this experience with us.
Well, I think South Africa, no leader knew more than any other leader in terms of how to manage this thing. And I think we had some rules that really made sense, and then we had others, like banning cigarettes, that really didn't make sense. So I think South Africa was, we had one of the the strictest lockdown policies of any country in the world. And we managed, and we got through it. And I think we protected our frontline workers for the most part. But then there were also people doing like yoga protests on the Musenberg catwalk. And I couldn't kind of wrap my head around all of that other than to laugh at it.
And Kim, you also share your experience of being a teenage mom and navigating motherhood from the age of 18, yeah? Do share more?
Yeah, so I was pregnant by the time I wrote my matric finals and denied it for a long time. I think I was about 4.5 months along before I told my parents. So I was headed to Rhodes University in then Grahamstown, and suddenly became very clear that that was not going to happen, and there was another plan for me. And yeah, I welcomed my beautiful little daughter into the world in 1997. She's 25 now, and she's actually the artist that did the cover art for my book. And it's been a really interesting journey. I've subsequently had 2 more children. My youngest, Emma, is 13. My son has just turned 18, Michael. And my eldest is 25 now, Kaz.
Wow.
And she's a fantastic artist, and we share a lot in common in terms of life views and, our views on women's rights. And she's an amazing advocate for body positivity and mental health. And we dive into that story in the book around her breakdown at the age of 16 and how I could be a better mother to her at the time. So, yeah, we've had a really interesting, beautiful journey. Being a mother young requires huge community support, and I was super blessed to have that, particularly from my parents.
Wow, how cool is that? So who is this? I mean, who are you aiming? Who are you targeting for this book?
For this book, so again, I suppose you write for the people that you know, for the community that you know, but I hope there's a few nuggets in there for anybody. I think anyone facing a journey of teenage pregnancy or supporting a child who's going to become a teenage mother. Maybe there's takeout for any parent, really. We've navigated various journeys. I've also navigated divorce twice and came out as gay in my 40s. So there's a lot of takeouts, I hope, for anybody navigating a similar journey. And I've been super blessed, super supported to have children with big, open, amazing minds. And this book is very much dedicated to them and their exceptional understanding and support of my whole journey.
And how have those who have read this book responded to some of the things you address through it?
So far, so good. Like I said, I poked fun at everybody, so there could be some political figures that really don't like the book, but I don't think, I don't know if I've read that yet. We had a hashtag that was trending, and I can't say the words on live TV, but anyone who wants to see further can read the book. But it's been kind of safe because up until now, the copies have all been bought by friends and family, but it is now in exclusive books and on Amazon and in bookstores across the country. So I suppose it's time for like big girl panties on and take the good with the bad. Not everybody's going to love it, and I respect that, but it's out there now, and it was a life dream to put a book out, and I'm excited that it's in the public domain.
Thank goodness I didn't feature in that book.
No, you didn't feature that. And my mom loved the book, so it can't be that bad.
Right. All right, Kim Stevens, lovely chatting to you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you. That was a Sunday morning guest author, Kim Stevens, and we're just in conversation with her about a newly released book titled Hold the Line.